Back now to Attorney General Eric Holder, his testimony today on Operation Fast and Furious. Republican lawmakers told Holder it is time to fire top Justice Department officials involved in Operation Fast and Furious. But instead of taking responsibility, Holder accused his critics of politicizing the outrage and investigation of the operation. The allegation didn't sit well with some Republicans on that committee.
As we work to avoid future losses and further mistakes, it is unfortunate that some have used inflammatory and inappropriate rhetoric about one particular tragedy that occurred near the southwest border in an effort to score political points.
Mr. Attorney General, it seems to me that you're trying to score as many political points as you're asserting that somebody else has done in this operation, and I find that rather offensive.
Our next guest, a member of the House Judiciary Committee, Congressman Louie Gohmert. Today he pressed the Attorney General to come clean about what he knew and when. Congressman, good to have you with us. We appreciate it. Your assessment of the Attorney General's testimony today?
Evasive, non-forthcoming. That was foreshadowed, though. They had provided a document dump last Friday. Now, look, I was a judge. I've seen document dumps. I've seen people that are really in good faith trying to disclose material. This was a document dump. You know, about 2,000 pages, many of them blank, and you had, heck, 100 pages were Grassley's letter asking for information. So this was not, this was very disingenuous. And then to have him come forward and make statements like, you know, that he had expressed his condolences, his apology to the Brian Terry family. Lou, it would have meant more to the Terry family if he had sent the letter to them before he gave it to the press. Right. This is completely disingenuous. And for him to say back in May 3rd before our committee, I was there too, he said, you know, I only learned about it a few weeks ago. And then in his statement today, he said, well, actually, I learned about it earlier because I took action in February. I ordered an IG investigation, and I ordered all of our AUSAs and other people not to do this again. And I asked him, where's the documentation for that? We don't have an email from you. We don't have a letter from you. We don't have any kind of transcript of anything. You said, where is your information? And this whole document stack, there's nothing from you. And he said, you know what, I could have just picked up the phone and called the IG. We get along so well. IGs are not supposed to get along that well. And then he says, I said, well, so when did you first suspect that 3 weeks that you knew about it, May 3rd, may have been a good bit earlier? Like now you're saying you did this action in February and the others in March. And he said, oh, well, to me, you know, a few months, a few weeks, they're all about the same to me. This is Attorney General. And let me just throw in one other thing. You know, we had a problem with abuse with the national security letters back in the summer of 2007. It came to light. The Attorney General at that time under Bush said he didn't know about it, and he had told us there were no abuses. When we found out, I know I talked to Chuck Schumer about it, and we don't get along on most issues, but we both agreed it's a new Attorney General. And within about 6 weeks of the admission that, gee, I didn't know about the report and now there were the abuses, we had a new Attorney General. It's time to do that here, Lou.
It's clear that this is a different Attorney General. This is a different president. And this is a clear stated matter of record that, in point of fact, Lanny Brewer, his assistant, did know about Operation Fast and Furious as early as April of 2010, was consulted on the very letter that was sent in response to Senator Chuck Grassley, and that they allowed over the course of 8 months a misrepresentation, if you take their language, to stand before the U.S. Congress. What will be the committee's response to that reality?
Well, there's a lot more that's got to be done. We need a new Attorney General. Take your pick. Lying, incompetent, are either one of those the qualifications you want for somebody running the Justice Department? Never has been for me. It's the Justice Department. And then when you you do find in there some emails about, well, really, hey, can we use this information to maybe get more regulations on guns and say, gee, look at all these that were produced by one. Also, he produced numbers that I've run through the Congressional Research Service. They're just completely outrageous fabrications of numbers. He says, gee, 75% or so actually came from the United States, sourced to the United States. I'm told actually it's just a small fraction of that from people who are using real numbers, not his play numbers.
Congressman, good to have you with us. We appreciate it.
There's a lot to be done, Lou, a lot to be done.